Hi there! So over the last couple of days there have been some rumours circulating about a CMF series that may be coming out next year that I am super excited about, and that is a entire Muppet CMF series. That's incredible to me. I love the Muppets so much and I have been desperately wanting just a Kermit please, but entire series. That is so exciting to me. I would never have expected it, to be honest, because Disney haven't been doing a super lot with the Muppets license, and I wasn't sure how popular Muppets actually were with people at the moment, but I am pleasantly surprised and extremely excited about the potential of this. Disney also have a Muppet Halloween special coming out this year, so I think that kind of bodes well for the potential of this rumor and Disney actually doing things with their Muppet license at the moment. And that leaves us with the question of what characters would actually be in the Muppets series. It would be another series of 12 most likely, because that's just what LEGO have narrowed down most of their CMF series to at the moment, and there's some very obvious ones. You're definitely going to get Kermit and Miss Piggy. I think it would be really fun if Kermit came with like a little Robin or something, but I don't really know how that would work because I think he would be better as his own figure rather than an accessory, but whatever. You'd also have Fozzie Bear and Gonzo, preferably again with Camilla as like an accessory for him. So I think those four would probably be like the most likely characters to be made, and then a tear down from that you would have characters like Scooter, Animal, Rolf, Sam, the Swedish Chef, Bunsen and Beaker, and Pepe, and that would fill out the roster for the CMF series. It would leave some fan favorite characters like Waldorf and Statler out of the series. I definitely think that they could again replace some characters who I already listed off. Someone like Pepe might not make the cut, and one of the reasons I think that they would be less likely is through other merchandising they have been left until later series to be made as action figures and toys and stuff, so it's just that line of logic. As much as I would love an entire CMF series dedicated to just the Muppets, I'm not entirely sure if that is realistic that LEGO would be doing that. I've been surprised before because I wasn't sure about the Looney Tunes rumor, and clearly I was proved wrong with that, but I think what could possibly be happening here is the rumor is true but just in a different way, and that could be that there's a third regular Disney CMF series coming out next year. It would fall in line with the release of the other two series, which came out in 2016 and 2019 respectively, and I think what could be happening is with the new Mickey and Friends line being released this year, that perhaps LEGO wanted to replace these mascot characters of Mickey and Minnie Mouse with something else to make it more desirable for collectors. And so I think that those replacement mascots could easily be Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy. Again, I'm not saying that this is definitely the case or anything, I'm just thinking of different ways that this could go because I think it's exciting, and I like the idea of getting some of the other Disney characters that we haven't gotten before just as much as I like the idea of getting a Muppet series. If this is the case and we are getting a third Disney CMF, there are a few characters that I would love to see alongside these potential Muppet characters, and some that I think would just make total sense to have in this series, and one of the ones I think would just make absolute sense would be to have a Cruella figure, and this is obviously because the movie that just released with Emma Stone was such a huge success for Disney. It wouldn't make sense to not. I think that she would just be one of those characters that is good to be standalone, the same way that Stitch and Maleficent were in the first CMF series. But on the subject of that, I actually would really want to see a Lilo figure introduced in this series to go along with Stitch, because I think it's really sad that she was never made. Lilo and Stitch is one of my favorite movies, so I have a lot of bias there, but I think it would be great. And with that too, I would love to see an Aurora figure released to go with Maleficent, but there is a reason that I don't think that would happen, and that is because I believe that the original trio of princesses, being Snow White, Cinderella, and Aurora, are being held off to be made later on. I think it's very strange that we haven't gotten a Cinderella figure yet, considering there are two sets now that are based on Cinderella's castle from the Disneyland parks, and the reason that I think that she hasn't been made yet is because LEGO might be waiting for a big anniversary to make these original trio of princesses. I think the most likely thing that they would wait for would be a big anniversary of the Snow White movie. In 2027, it will be 90 years since Snow White was first released, and I think that that might be a big enough occasion for LEGO to make the Snow White figure. And because we haven't had a Cinderella or an Aurora, even though both have had opportunity to be made, I think that possibly just all three of them will come out as a special thing by themselves. In terms of other princesses that I think could be included in the series, which are always my favorite part of the Disney CMFs, I think that we would most likely get a princess from the Renaissance era of Disney. And that is because the other two princesses that we have gotten, Ariel and Jasmine, were from this era. Elsa and Anna were also released, of course, in the second series. However, Disney has franchised them as their own brand, and they are technically separate from the rest of the princesses. So I think it would be between Belle, Pocahontas, and Mulan to be made. And I think that probably Belle and Mulan have equal chances of being made. They're all classics. Mulan got a live action movie fairly recently, which I think was the push to get the Aladdin figures made. And the Beauty and the Beast movie also had a live action movie in 2017, so a little while ago now, but it's also just a classic and Belle's very iconic. I feel bad for Pocahontas, but I don't feel that her merchandise ever sells as well, which isn't to say that I wouldn't want a Pocahontas figure. I would love to have her and all of the other princesses, but I do think she is the least likely of the three to be made. The more modern era princesses totally could be made as well. The Disney line with the mini dolls frequently have sets of these characters, and I would personally love to see Rapunzel more than anything else. She's my favorite Disney princess, and the only reason I think that they are less likely than the other princesses is because of the fact that Ariel and Jasmine have already been made, so I don't know why you wouldn't finish that off before moving on to more modern stuff. If I had to pick any of the modern princesses, I think that Merida would be most likely because of her association with the Pixar studio instead of Disney itself. And with Pixar, I think that they would probably choose some characters from some of the more recent movies, particularly with the popularity of Luca that released this year. I think that it would be quite likely that we would get Luca and Alberto as figures, and I think they would look super cute as well if they had their kind of half sea monster design, half kid design. It would be quite cute and fun. And as for other characters to fill up the roster, I think it would really be a free-for-all. That's the most fun thing about the Disney CMFs, is there's so much history to pull from and so many movies that any character would be pretty exciting to get. What are your guys' thoughts on the potential of a Muppet series? Would you prefer that, or would you prefer a regular Disney series? And if so, what characters are you expecting? And just tell me all your thoughts, because I think it's a very exciting rumor and I can't wait to learn more and hopefully be able to get my hands on a Kermit figure finally next year. Thank you for watching.